Great night last night. House of Blues, everybody enjoyed it? The pianos, all that, yeah? Got some rest, yeah? Feeling refreshed? You're like, no. Well, today we have a very educational day plan for you guys. We're gonna be talking about lead generation, patient acquisition, converting your existing patients, keeping them in your ecosystem, taking them from one specific treatment to multiple treatments. We have a discussion panel at the end of the day. We also have breakouts specifically on different marketing talks. You heard some of it yesterday. So same format as yesterday. Fifth floor will be our breakouts. Everything that you see happening today and last night and the Friday night was all possible because of our marketing team. We have Maddie, Sean, Moody, Ashley, Marissa. If you guys can, give them a round of applause for putting this all together. Our AV team back there for helping us set everything up, the speakers, the music, the screens. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna be starting off today talking about patient acquisition. I spent, I'd say, about over a decade, well over 10 years, working with clinics all across North America, whether it be a sole proprietorship, a nurse starting off into aesthetics, leaving the hospital with no signage, renting a room, buying a capital equipment, an InMode device, an Optimus Max, helping them build their business, or it's a physician working in the insurance space, not doing any private aesthetic treatments, getting their first device. So I've been fortunate enough to work with all sorts of clinics, all sorts of physicians, nurses, estheticians, building their business from the ground up. I'm gonna be doing a number of case studies with you guys today. I'll start off with one case study today, and then during the breakouts, we'll go into some more case studies, okay? So let me get the clicker here before we get started. We're gonna jump right into it. And here's our first case study. Dr. Malley began her aesthetic journey just a year ago and has already treated over 500 patients. Despite her success, she struggles with discussing payments and an uncomfortable topic she often avoids. This hesitation has quietly held her back, limiting her ability to grow with more confidence in fee conversations. She could have doubled her reach and expanded her impact. That uncomfortable conversation of pricing, delivering that information to the patient. Has anybody here had any trouble with that? Raise your hand. Yes. There's so many ways to go about it. You can talk about it, and sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes you're doing the consultation with the patient, and you have 5 minutes blocked off. You have a number of other patients waiting. You're talking about the treatment. Now you gotta talk about pricing. Sometimes you're a therapist in the room there, and it ends up being half an hour. So you're limited. We're gonna go over some strategies on how to have that discussion, delegation, and focusing on your internal patient database. When I'm working with the practice, specifically physicians, they always tell me, Mac, my current insurance-based patients aren't gonna wanna pay out of pocket for these aesthetic treatments. Has that happened before with anybody in this room? Yes. Or even in general, even aesthetic patients, they don't wanna spend too much money. I always focus on the internal patient database, the patients that are coming through your practice every single day and trying to convert those patients. There's a specific formula you need to apply to your practice to make sure that that sales funnel is able to convert them organically. I never want you to go to the patient and tell them, do you wanna buy this? Do you wanna buy this treatment? Do you wanna get a Morpheus 8? And you never want to point it out. Even though they might need it, you never want to say, hey, maybe you need to get this done. And going back to what I prefaced earlier on about not having enough time, that's why delegation is key. When I'm working with my practices, I tell them, You're not making money until you're making money when you're not working. So the more treatment rooms you have, the more treatments you can do, the more money you can make. So what it comes down to is, how much money do you need to make per hour, per room to be successful? The more rooms you have, the more money you can make. Pre-COVID, when I would work with clinics, they'd have this grand waiting room, this large waiting room, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But at the same time, the waiting room doesn't necessarily convert patients. You guys can take pictures of this. What I notice now when it comes to patients coming into your practice, does everybody offer them an intake form? Yes. Yes. It's mandatory. Even if you're doing aesthetics only, you have to offer the patient an intake form. But not just any intake form. This is more of a marketing form. When I'm reviewing my clinic's intake forms, I see the question, all the generic information, their name, email address, all that stuff there. Hopefully you're asking for the email addresses, right? And some of my clinics will even ask for their Instagram handle, and they'll follow them. They'll do that. They'll ask it on the intake form. But they'll say, are you interested in Botox? Are you interested in Morpheus 8? Are you interested in body contouring? That has to be crossed off. Your focus on your intake form has to be, do any of the following concern you? Please check all that apply. And every single person walking into your practice gets this. Even if they've been an existing patient for 20 years, 10 years, doesn't matter how long they've been coming there. If you just started off doing aesthetics and you've been in the insurance-based business for a while and you want to convert patients, you have to hand this intake form to them. Do any of the following concern you? Check all that apply. And then you have to get really granular with the services. You can't even mention the service name. If it's going to be for IPL, red spots, brown spots, rosacea, if they circle that off, great. Fine lines, wrinkles, loss of facial volume, jowls, Morpheus 8, filler, things like that. If it's going to be body contouring, unwanted fat, loose skin, stretch marks, unwanted hair, you have to get really granular with the specific concerns that they have. And if they circle that concern, is it fair game for you to talk about it during your consultation? Maybe they came in there for a cough and cold. Maybe they came in there for some sort of skincare treatment. Who knows? But if they circle off loss of facial volume, when you're in the room speaking to them about the specific concern that they came in there, it's okay for you to say, I also noticed that you circled off loss of facial volume. And then you can talk about Morpheus 8. Then you can talk about all your other services, your toxin. And once again, if you don't have time to do that, if you can't actually sit there and elucidate all the services that they circled off, what else could you do? You could pass it on to a staff member. So if they circle it off, I always recommend having a staff member that's able to sell, that's extroverted, that can delineate all the services when you don't have time to do that. So when I'm working with practices, I've done thousands of patient consultations, events with clinics. I have the time to sit there and talk to the patient about the specific service. You might not have that time. So I always recommend, okay, we have to have somebody here in your practice that's going to be able to speak about this as soon as they're interested. So if they're interested about this service and they circle it off, and you wait 2 weeks to talk about it or have them come back in there, is it less likely that they would want to move forward with the service? Yeah. When it's hot, you have to talk about it. So as soon as they circle it off, I don't have time. Okay, I have Katie in the hall down here in room number 3. She can talk to you about loss of facial volume. And then you hand her a brochure. She goes over to Katie. Katie sits there, talks about Morpheus 8, talks about Quantum, talks about Ignite. If it's sexual dysfunction, all that stuff there, whatever it may be, stress urinary incontinence, dryness, she can talk to you about that. And then she's going to be in the room there talking about the specific service and selling the patient. One of my dermatologists that I worked with for a number of years, he was way too busy in the insurance-based sector to really focus on his private aesthetic business. He's way too busy. So what we did was we broke up the sales funnel process. We hired somebody who was a lead generation specialist. And I'll talk about this during my breakout later on today. We hired somebody who was a lead generation specialist. All they did, all day, every day, was find new patient leads. They would be on Instagram, they would be on Facebook, and on top of that, they would also contact his existing database of patients and get them to come in and do aesthetic services. And she was just a lead generation specialist. We hired her, we created an Indeed posting, I got involved with the interview process, we put her in there, and her job was just to find patients to book the calendar. Second part of the sales funnel, we had somebody just doing consultations. And her job was just to sell treatments. We had somebody generating the leads, we hired somebody else, Lisa, to sit there and do all the consultations. I trained her on how to do consultations, how to close a sale. She did that, and her metric was based on the fact that how much money can she bring in to the practice. The lead generation specialist, their metric was based on how many leads they can book, qualified leads. So for example, one of the KPIs was 30 leads per month, qualified. What is a qualified lead? A patient actually coming into your practice and doing the consultation. That is a qualified lead. And when that happened, perfect. Lisa's job was to speak to the patient about that service. And then we had an esthetician. Her job was to do the treatment. She became a nurse later on, but she started off as an esthetician. And her job was to make sure that the patient comes back, building an affinity with the patient, having the patient come back, and cross-selling. So her metric was based on cross-selling. They came in for skincare. Did you talk about IPL? They came in there for IPL. Did you talk about Morpheus 8? There are certain services and treatments that are inextricable. They go hand in hand. Injectables and Morpheus 8, skincare and IPL. So did you cross-sell them? So we broke up the sales funnel in 3 parts, while the physician was running his insurance-based practice. He had a large waiting room, and I mentioned this earlier on. Pre-COVID, big waiting rooms, great. Now when a patient comes into your waiting room, what do they usually do? What are they doing? As soon as they sit down in the seat, look at this. Do they see all the marketing collateral? No, they're just glued onto their phone. And what I find now is that waiting rooms are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The more rooms you have, the more money you can generate. The more rooms you have, the more money you can generate. When you have a waiting room, patients don't even want to sit there. They want, as soon as they come in for their appointment, nobody sees them, they go straight into the treatment room. So I am finding that happening more often. But at the same time, you still want to saturate your waiting rooms with marketing collateral, all that stuff there. You want to be able to put advertising on your walls so patients can see it. I'm not disparaging any of it. There are some of my practices here today that have a number of, like this is one of the images here. You see all of the pictures, the before and after wall. Does everybody here have a before and after wall? Yes? No? Nobody has a before and after wall. Wow, okay, this is mandatory. I always tell my practices, you gotta have a before and after wall. You gotta have some real estate. You have some real estate at the front desk. One of my practices wanted to bring up the conversation for Empower. And this is the wand that we use, the Votiva, to treat stress urinary incontinence, dryness, all those things there. So a patient would come to the front desk, they'd be seeing the doctor for something else, and then they would ask the question, hey, peeing when sneezing, this magic wand can help. What is this? What is this? And then we train the front desk staff to say a specific one-liner, two-liner, and their goal was to get that patient in for a consultation. Their goal wasn't to sell the patient on the spot. It was just to get the conversation going. Okay, they inquired about it. They're here for this consultation. She would let the physician know, hey, by the way, they were asking about Votiva right here at the front desk. They're asking about the Empower. And you got to explain this to them. Okay, perfect, we'll do it. Making sure you have that conversation happening in real time and making sure you have that funnel in place at all times. I'm going to run right through this. Treatment rooms. When I'm working with the practice and I do the walk around of their clinic, they tell me, Mac, this is my injectable room. I do all my injectables in here. Great. I look around, all this injectable posters, videos, wonderful. I go to the next room. They go, Mac, this is my quantum room. This is where I do my quantum, all that stuff there. My Luxora. This is my laser hair removal room. And they have all the marketing collateral for the laser hair removal in there. And I say, no. If this is your injectable room, all the marketing collateral in that room is going to be, shout it, what? Morpheus. They're going to have all these before and afters of Morpheus everywhere. By the way, this is all AI, in case you guys are wondering. These are all generated through AI. Like, why is her fingers off in the picture and the images? It's all AI. Yeah, it's all going to be the opposite. You got them already in there for injectables. Now we got to figure out a way to organically talk about Morpheus 8. You got them in for skincare. Now we got to figure out a way to organically talk to them about IPL. Once again, I mentioned this multiple times. Do you want to talk about all of your services, or do you want the patient to bring it up to you? That's the goal here. One of my clinics that I was working with, this is about 2-3 years ago, she started off, and just this minor adjustment with furniture increased her consultations, her closing and her consultations, well over 50%. She placed her chair in front of all the before and afters, and she had the patient sit there. And when she would speak to the patient about the concerns that she had, all she would do is raise her hand the entire time during the consultation. Oh yeah, I do this all the time. I've treated this patient, this patient. By the end of the month, she had a carpal tunnel syndrome. Her arm would be up the entire time, just holding it up there over and over and over again. And just having that before and after wall in front of that patient as she's talking about her concerns. And you're positioning yourself as a subject matter expert. And if you don't have these before and afters, are you able to use our before and afters? Yes. You can definitely use our before and afters. Go on the resource center. We have a number of before and afters on there. You can pull it out, use it, put it on there. And I always tell my clinics, as soon as they get their clinical training, to start treating their friends and family members. Do that right away. Get yourself treated, get your staff treated, because we need before and after. We need your own before and afters too. It's okay to use our manufacturers, but we need your own before and afters. More marketing collateral. Once again, it's not just about the treatment rooms, it's not about the waiting rooms, it's also in the bathrooms. Familiar with these symptoms? Dryness, burning, and irritation in general area, poor vaginal lubrication and discomfort, urgent need to urinate and painful urination, painful intercourse and sexual dysfunction, recurrent UTIs. We can help. Ask us how. Having it everywhere. Whenever I'm working with my clinics that have an Empower, I go to the bathroom right away and I say, we got to put this, not to the ladies' bathroom, obviously, I don't physically go in there, but I say, hey, we got to put this into the bathroom so people can actually see it. And obviously, you don't have to go to this extent of, I'm over exaggerating, right? You don't have to remove the mirror to do this. But the point is, wherever you have a place in the bathroom, you have to make sure that they can see it, okay? So they can see it, and then go from there. And then once you get that patient to inquire about it, they're interested, they like it, it's great, and you're able to comfortably discuss the pricing, what's another obstacle that comes in your way? After you've sat there and told them about the pricing, what could they possibly say to you? Sorry? Too expensive? I need to talk to my husband first. I need to talk to my partner first. Ooh, I wasn't expecting to spend that much money today. Has anybody heard those lines before? Do you tell them, listen, if you don't buy now, you're not going to get this deal? No. You don't say that. You'd be surprised. I've heard that once. Yeah. This was during our consultation training, and he was just a little bit overzealous, and he wanted to close the deal. He got really hyped up, and he said that, and I was like, okay, we have to walk that back. But yeah, no, you don't want to say those things. And whenever they give you pushback, I always like to offer a loss leader. Is everybody here familiar with the loss leader? Has anybody been a victim of a loss leader marketing strategy before? No? I'll talk to you about my personal experience. So a few years ago, pre-COVID, I was looking to buy a USB stick. And I saw that there was a sale at Best Buy to buy a USB stick. It was $1 for 10 gigs. I was like, $1 for 10 gigs USB stick? This is like 2018, 2017. Now they're cheap. And I went there looking for the USB stick, and as soon as I get there, I'm looking for it, and then I end up buying the USB stick and walking out with the 65-inch Sony TV. They got me in with the USB stick, and then I ended up walking through the aisles and purchasing a Sony TV for $65. I ended up spending over $1,000, close to $1,300. And I was only trying to spend $1. And that's a loss leader. When I'm working with my clinics, I'm telling them, don't discount, never discount. Always build a new treatment into your package, your deal, and make sure it creates some sort of value. Skincare reps hate me because I always use their products as loss leaders, always. I'm focused on the bigger margins. I want you to sell a Morpheus 8 package for $3,000. Do I want you to sell a skincare kit for $300? Your profit margins on the Morpheus 8 is close to $2,700. So I say, let's take this skincare kit and include it. So when a patient walks in there and says, oh, I want to buy this a moisturizer, this skincare kit, whatever it may be, well, you can get that complimentary with the package of our Morpheus 8. What's Morpheus 8? Let me talk to you about it. You want to buy this skincare? Well, you get a complimentary when you purchase our IPL package. It's valued at $500. Your IPL is $900, but your cost is $250, and more importantly, you got them hooked onto a new service that they've never done before. Not discounting, and offering a loss leader. And you don't even have to necessarily use a new service for that. You can play around with the numbers. You can play around with the services. For every Morpheus 8 face package, you get 3 complimentary neck treatments, valued at $1,400. Realistically, how much more money are you spending? How much more money is your cost when you're doing the neck, if you're already doing the face? But you broke it up, face and neck. You have your pricing for your face, you have your pricing for your neck. Laser hair removal. Some of my clinics say, Mac, I don't know if laser hair removal, I can make money with it. I have it here. I have a few patients, they do it. But yeah, I have clinics that generate $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 just on laser hair removal every single month. Well over $50,000. Unlimited laser hair removal for 1 year. Unlimited laser hair removal for 1 year for $1,500. Valued at $4,000. If you do a full body unlimited laser hair removal for 1 year, it's $1,500 instead of paying $4,000. Hypothetically speaking, if I do laser hair removal today on my legs, can I do it again tomorrow? No. And in the summertime when I'm burnt, because I've been traveling so much, can I do it also? So technically, is it unlimited? Based on the clinical protocols. And with our laser hair removal device, well under 6 sessions, you're gonna be hairless from the eyebrows down to the toes. And if you're doing a full body, you can do it in under an hour. It takes longer to move the patient around than it does to actually do the full treatment. Unlimited for 1 year, $1,500, regular price $4,000. You book 10 patients and you create urgency for the first 10 patients only. For the first 10 patients. Who's controlling that number? Who's controlling it? You are. So you're going to be posting on social media, we have 3 spots left, 2 spots left. Memberships. I'm going to keep going. Memberships. Does everybody here offer memberships? Yes. I'm noticing that memberships are very popular today. And some people have this misconstrued notion that it has to be a membership for body contouring, which is fine. We had Dr. Donnie up here earlier on yesterday talking about memberships. Great, I love it. And when it comes to pricing memberships for body contouring, for example, if you have a body contouring device and you want to sell membership packages for it, what you can do is, when I'm working with my clinics, what I do is I like to keep it under $1,000 a month, roughly. These aren't arbitrary numbers. It's usually based on personal fitness trainers and how much they charge per hour. For example, here in Chicago, if I were to book a personal trainer for 1 hour, how much do they charge, roughly? Shout it out. Louder? 75? 100? How much? 120? Okay, we'll say $100. $100 an hour. I got to see a personal trainer at least twice a week. That's $200. That's $800 a month. And then I have my membership, which is close to $100. That's about $900. And then I have to work out at the gym, diet, do all those things there. Okay, well, how about we do body contouring membership for $997, $999 a month. They're already spending close to $900 a month. They're not happy with the results. They're still coming here to me, and they're talking about their issues when it comes to their body. Okay, fair game. They're willing to spend $900. I know they have money. I know they're willing to spend it on body contouring. Let's keep it around that price point, under $1,000. They come here once a week, and they do their services. And with our body contouring, we can target specific areas, lower abdomen, upper abdomen. We can focus on those for a few weeks, and then once they complete that, we go to the next body part. We go to the next body part. We go to the next body part. And once they're happy with the results, can we build muscle too? It keeps going, keeps going. But maybe you don't have a body contouring device yet. Maybe you just have our Optimus Max. Can you build a membership program with your Optimus Max? Yes, you can. That's right. So how about we do a membership program that makes it very palatable for patients to move forward with, and they're not breaking the bank? So we do something along the lines of $100 a month or $150 a month. You get one facial every single month with it. You get special pricing on your toxin. You get priority booking. You also get one small area for laser hair removal for under $100 a month, pre-authorized through your credit card. How much is your cost of doing a facial? What's your cost? Shout it out, guys. $15. What's the value? $100? $120? Okay. So just that one facial alone pays for the entire membership. This membership has a two-pronged strategy. It's to create patient loyalty in this competitive industry that we're in. And on top of that is to generate new patient leads. How can you generate new patient leads with a membership program? Very easy. Hypothetically speaking, that patient doesn't use their facial that month. Does it just expire? No, it doesn't expire. They can pass it on to a friend or family member that has never been to your practice before. Now you took that membership pricing that was used for patient loyalty, patient retention, to create new patient leads. So if you don't use it that month, that's fine. You can pass it on to your mother, your sister. She can come here next month and she can use it so it doesn't expire. That smaller area of laser hair removal, what's your cost for doing an upper lip or a neck or small area? What's your cost for doing it? Sorry? Your gel. What was it yesterday? 17 cents? I think 16 cents. and your time. And then when they're in there doing a small area of laser hair removal, are you just going to do that one treatment and say, God bless you, take care? What are you going to do? You're going to try to sell them on a full body. If you want to create more membership pricing, here's one here. But hey, you don't have to take a picture of this. What you can do is go to ChatGPT and type in all of your services, literally all of your services, and say, this is how much I'm charging, this is what I'm doing. Create me a membership program that will keep patients coming back, patient retention, and help generate new patient leads. And they're going to break it down for you. They're going to say, this is your cost, this is your time. Get really granular with all that information and put it in there. Before, back in the day, I would sit down there with the clinic and spend at least 3 hours, 4 hours going over all of this, breaking down their pricing, their costs, how much they're spending, and then come up with it. Now it takes me literally seconds. We do it together. I sit down with the clinic and say, let's do it together. Let's put it in there. We start inputting all the information and start spitting it out. I'm going to do another case study later on after the break. But if you want to hear about all of my case studies with all of my clinics over the past 15 years, just recently co-authored a book called Prescribing Profit. You're able to sign up for it and have access to all of the ebooks with Boomerang just out here at the hall. So if you want to learn more about all these case studies, have access to all of our modules, all of the webinars, there's a plethora of ebooks, all that stuff there. Scan this QR code. You're able to do a demo outside over there and learn more about it. We're going to continue our day with clinical. And our next topic, I'm very interested in hearing about it myself, debunking Morpheus 8 myths.